one of the questions come up is why that time. It was getting ready for dismissal. Dismissal is at 2:40, and this happened just around the 2 o'clock after that. What do you think of the fact of the timing?
I know that a lot of students don't have a 7th period, so that ends at like 2 o'clock. So when you're saying the time was 2 o'clock, so there's going to be a lot of kids that are walking out towards their bikes, towards their cars, or right in the area. The senior parking lot is right where this went down, and the exit to where you walk to where people go home or to their bike is also in that area. So there's going to be a large mass of people at that time.
The suspect entered the east stairwell, that's building 12, with a rifle inside a black, soft case. The suspect exited the stairwell, pulled the rifle out of the case. At 2:21 hours and 33 seconds, the suspect readied his rifle and began shooting into rooms 1215, 1216, 1214. He went back to 1216, back to 1215, and then to 1213.
I assume that it's a code red drill because they told us earlier in the day that we're going to be having a code red drill. I assumed it was blanks. We start to exit the building. All my kids are in front of me going down the stairwell. I get to the door at the top of the west stairwell in the 1200 building. We hear gunfire. By the time I get back to my room's door, there's the shooters already up at the tail end of the hall, at the other end, the east end of the building. Heard 2 shots. I didn't see it, but then those 2 shots would have been my friend Scott Beagle getting shot and killed while trying to save his kids. And then he looked down the hallway and started shooting. One of my former students, a kid who's a senior named Joaquin Oliver, screamed, turned, he was shot. At that point, I looked down at the shooter. He looked at me, pointed his AR at me, and started shooting. I pushed all my kids by my door. Bang, bang, bang. All of a sudden, the shooting stopped. I looked down. He was reloading. I yelled, "Run!" And then I ran behind as many kids as I could. Went to the 2nd floor, into the conference room, then hid in the men's bathroom till the police came through.
When everybody realized that and he started coming up the stairs, everybody started running back to their room. There was like a stampede of people just sprinting back to their rooms. We were all waiting at the door, and he comes over and he unlocks the door, and we all get in. And I see this figure come up the stairs with this pistol, and I guess that was him.
A coach from Nikolas College in Dudley, Mass. actually witnessed the tragedy. He was inside the high school in Florida on a recruiting trip.
It was their last school visit of the day. Assistant Dean for Nikolas College, Paul Brower, was wrapping up with prospective athletes at Stoneman Douglas High in Florida.
There's some radio chatter about a firecracker, and somebody said that isn't a firecracker, and moments later there was a code red. I think one of the hardest moments was they learned that their coach Fights, had been shot. So, we watched a young man come right across the window we were standing near and kind of jog into the middle of the field and start heading to evacuate with other students. About 2 or 3 minutes after that happened, we learned that was the shooter.
And like a glass little window, and he just shot right through it and just shot from outside. He never came into the room, but he just started spraying inside of the room, and he just hit people. It's just hard. We don't know what to do. It's just like confusing in a way. We've never been through something this traumatic in our lives before. It just doesn't feel real, and we really were just shocked. And
he opened fired at the door from the inside the hallway through the door and just started spraying through the door. 4 kids in my class, they got shot. 2 of them, I believe, passed away. You never think it will happen to you and to your school until it really does, and it just doesn't feel real.
Did you hear the guns or did you hear the alarm?
I actually did not hear the alarm. I just heard gunshots go off. Many shots went off, and right away I just tried to take cover. I jumped under a table and just hid with 2 other girls under a table behind the desk.
Did any bullets get into your classroom?
Yes, many bullets were shot through my class. I was in complete shock. I had no idea what was going on. It just all happened way too quickly, and I was just in complete shock.
So I was wrapping up in math class. As you know, it was the end of the day, and we were pretty much just packing up. We heard a few pops, and at the time we didn't really think much of it, as it could have been, you know, a kid throwing something, or maybe a chip bag opening in the hallway, until one of my friends who was previously in the bathroom came in running, frantically screaming that there's a shooter. He heard gunshots, and we were all a little suspicious until the fire alarm was pulled shortly then after, and we heard a bunch of other shots, and that's when the lights were turned off, door was locked, and we went into hiding.
Aiden, have you accounted for all of your friends at school? Is everybody okay that you know?
Yes, I do, and everyone in my classroom that I was in is okay, including the teacher and the administrator that was spectating this.
I was inside the freshman building on the first floor when we heard the shooting, and it came in towards the right side of the building. We have been practicing drills for months since we got back from winter break, and even before that. So when it first happened, we all thought it was a drill, and as soon as it got closer and closer, we all ran towards my teacher's desk for safety. As the shooting was going on, you can hear it, the glass shattering through all the halls and the bullet holes piercing the walls and everything, and it was just so horrible.
You guys exchanged 77 text messages during this. And so, Hannah, did you think that these were possibly the last messages you were going to be sending out?
Yeah, and I really hoped it wouldn't be, but when you're in the moment, it's you just praying to God that everyone knows that you love them and that you're okay. There was 4 to 6 people in my classroom that got shot, and 2 of them, Nick Ward and Helena Ramsey, they didn't make it. With the 30 kids that we had in our class, only so many of them could fit behind her desk, and a lot of them had to line up on the wall near where you can see through the window. And so they were the unlucky ones in our class.
And the gunman was shooting through the window?
Yeah, he shot through the door of our, and the door has a window, and he shattered the glass and was shooting through the walls and everything, so yeah. When my dad picked me up, he picked me up about a mile that way down Pine Island Road, and he was coming from work. He turned on his lights and work truck because he works for BSO. So when he finally found me and picked me up, I was a mess. I was just so happy that I could see my dad again. And just one of the kids, his name is Matthew Walker, he was videotaping through it, and that's where one of the videos comes from in my classroom. And then he took a picture of the laptop at the end, and that laptop was at my desk, and it had 3 bullet holes through it.
Hannah Carbucci dove for cover under her teacher's desk.
He just shattered our window of our classroom and started shooting into the window, and he shot through the walls.
Yeah, we heard the alarm, which was really strange because we had one earlier that morning.
We had a fire drill that morning.
Yeah, and we all knew what to do, so we started heading out the classroom, but when we were trying to go down the stairwell, everybody just stopped. I smelled dust, and I didn't know what it was, so I thought it was like the school trying to pretend like fake smoke.
So you hadn't heard any shots yet?
No, but when everybody started running up the stairs, I was being shoved, and then I started hearing gunshots. And then we all heard gunshots, and he unlocked the door and let us in. I had thought he was behind me.
This is Mr. Beagle?
But he wasn't. Everybody stopped moving. No one was going down the stairs. Everybody was just looking around like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, it was like a wave of kids running back upstairs, screaming. Some were already crying. Some were saying, oh my goodness.
Had you heard the gunshots at that point?
No, I did not. But people said there's gunshots downstairs. And I'm like, I talked to my teacher, and I said, I'm scared. I don't know what's going on. And then we heard the gunshots.
And then you turned around and you went back to your geography classroom.
Yes.
And then what happened?
My geography teacher unlocked the door, and I had ran in thinking he was behind me, but he was not.
What happened to your teacher?
He unfortunately passed away in the doorway of our classroom.
Did you see him get shot?
I did not. I heard the gunshots, and I've heard the shooter walk down the hallway shooting more kids. I've heard a young man crying for his mother dying. And it was just hard because You don't imagine this happening to you. You see it on the news, you see it everywhere, and you don't think this is not good. You think it's not going to happen to you, but until it happens, you're just like, this is terrible. My friend said Mr. Beagle, which is his name, is not moving. He is laying in the doorway and he is not moving. She said, I don't know if this is real or fake, because we had rumors going around the school that the police would do a fake code red with fake fake guns, not actual, but sounding real. And I thought at the beginning that this was it was all a drill. It was just a drill, until I saw my teacher dead on the floor. If I'm gonna be honest, it felt like 5 years, more than that. I was just so scared. I wanted to go home. I wanted the cops, because my grandfather is a former state trooper, to be there and get me home safely so I can see my family again. The first thing that came to mind was my mother. Once we were escorted out of the classroom, I did see Mr. Beagle's body on the corner of my eyes near the stairwell, and I did see blood, and I saw 2 students, unfortunately, curled up in balls going down the stairs. I saw more blood, backpacks thrown everywhere. It was like a movie scene. There was gunpowder all over the floor. It was just so real, but it felt so fake.
Of course it goes into, this must be fake, this must be a movie.
The last 20 minutes of class, there was a fire drill, but it was really weird right away because we had just had one this morning. So everyone already knew that someone had either pulled it or that it was set off. And it couldn't have been ringing for more than 5 minutes, no, like more than 2 minutes, because by the time I had reached the stairwell, it had already stopped. And everyone's kind of stood there not knowing exactly what to do. And we just kind of looked around until we heard 3 or 4 just loud bangs, and everyone who was going down the stairs just ran back up. And about, I want to say over 100 students just trying to run into a classroom and shut the door. There was kids in my class just running to the corners, jumping over desks, trying to get behind the teacher's desk. And it was a mess. At first we thought it was some kind of messed up drill going on, but then we started to smell stuff like smoke and gunpowder. There was blood and gunpowder and bodies just all over the place. We were stepping over puddles of blood and just trying not to look. Both of us just can't wrap our heads around what exactly happened. Yeah. And it just doesn't feel real.
And I came back to my classroom and I knocked on the door and the fire alarm went off, and principal came on the speaker and just said, everyone needs to evacuate right now. So that's what we did. As I was going down the stairs, I heard a couple shots fired. Everyone was freaking out, saying that it was a gun. And as we were walking, the whole class together, I actually was speaking to the suspect, Nikolas Cruz. And as I was speaking to him, he seemed very, I don't know what the word I want to say is, but he was trouble in middle school. So I kind of joked to him about it and said, I'm surprised you weren't the one who did it. And he just gave me a huh. So that's really what happened.
You were walking down the hall. He had already fired at that time.
Yes, sir, with him.
Weren't you scared?
In the moment I wasn't, because there was definitely another shooter involved, but...
Oh, you think he was not the only one?
No, definitely not.
Why do you say that?
Because when shots were fired, I saw him after the fact. So, and the shots were coming from the other part of the building. So there definitely had to be 2 shooters involved, I believe.
That's the first I've heard of that. Did you see any other students who were wounded?
No, sir.